think we'll get started. Hello again. I'm so happy to see you all. This is the first time we're doing a closing like this. I have an opportunity to come together before we send you home. Certainly hope you enjoyed the last 2 days at the NJPN 25th Annual Conference. So excited. A little housekeeping, make sure you silence your phones, make sure you checked in. And if you need credits, the QR code will be up on the screen at the end so that you can get your evaluation. So that's kind of all the housekeeping. But I'm so excited to be able to introduce you to our next speaker. It's the last act of this whole event, but it certainly saved the best for last. Ray and I go back. Actually, we started our careers together. We were both kids, about 12 years old, right?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
About 30 years ago, I was planning conference events and Ray was speaking, entertaining and educating our youth at the Elks Peer Leadership Conference, if any of you have ever attended one of those, and many others. So, I'm so excited to have him here and us reconnecting after several years. So really join me in welcoming Ray. He joins us today with over 3 decades of experience and just the right amount of humor to a topic that impacts all of us. For the past 34 years, Ray Lozano has worked in the field of drug and alcohol prevention, presenting to students, parents, educators, and professionals in all 50 states. His ability to break down complex issues and turn them into practical, relatable conversations has made him sought-after speaker nationwide. Today's presentation isn't your typical lecture. It's interactive, so get ready. Insightful and designed to get you thinking and laughing and most importantly, learning. Whether you work with youth, lead a team, or just want to understand how prevention really works, you're in for a valuable experience. Please join me in welcoming to the stage a true expert in prevention with a passion for connection, Ray Lozano.
Perfect job, Ben. Thank you so much. Wow, what a pleasure it is to be here today because 50% of my audience are junior high and high school kids. So if at any point you feel like you need to check your social media, do it, okay? A few of you, please put AirPods in, and if you need to sit on somebody's lap, go ahead and do it, okay? Because, yeah, that'll be fine. Now, back row, I'm counting on you back there to put your heads down and occasionally moan, okay? Just so we know that you're with us. But I am so excited to be here. Before I came up today, I was talking with my social media team, and I just need to put this up front. I just want you to know, if 6 months from now, I find out that you're using my PowerPoint and you've taken a lot of my information, I just need to let you know, we are going to be so happy, okay? We are going to hug you and thank you so much. So please, today, steal as much as you possibly can from this presentation. I'm not up here to talk about how great I want you on Monday to be able to walk into your office and be more effective than you were last week. And that's what this presentation's about. How many of you had aha moments during the conference? Let me see those hands. Nice. How many of you saw some information you thought, man, I need to know that information. I want to know that information, right? And so the thing is, today, that's what we're going to be talking about. So if I see you holding up a phone recording this, I'm going to fall in love with you, okay? So feel free to steal as much as you possibly can from this. Survey. I'm going to do a real quick survey. I'm going to ask you 3 different questions. And I would love it if you would please honestly clap for the reason why you came to this event today. For example, reason number 1. How many of you saw something in the brochure and you thought to yourself, man, I could use that for my own personal growth? Go ahead and give me a round of applause if you found something like that. Nice, quite a few of you. How many of you saw something in the brochure and you thought, man, I want to bring that back to the office and have everybody start using that idea? Go ahead and clap if you have that idea. Right. And last but not least, how many of you were thinking, oh, great, a day off, get out of the office, free food, right? Yeah. How did more people clap on that? I think some of you are sitting next to your boss, right? Yeah, this guy, man, we need to get him over, right? Yeah. You guys are just like the junior high kids, right? So the good part is, what's amazing about this event is you're going to get all 3 of those, or you did get all 3 of those. You got an opportunity to learn some stuff for yourself, some stuff to bring back to an office. And then, believe it or not, the important thing is you connected with other people during this event. How to be effective with the people that you're working with. Here's what I've found with my 34, 38 years of experience in this field. We forget. We forget. We forget why we're doing this sometimes, and we fall into the motion of doing this. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to take 10 seconds. I'm going to give you 10 seconds, and I want you to remember why you're doing this job. How did you get to the chair that you're sitting in right now? What struggle did you have to go through? What did your background look like? And think about all those things, because it is your unique story. And everybody in this room has that unique story. And please hear this. Your story matters. You're sitting in this chair not because you wanted a job that was going to make you rich, not to have a job that, you were going to be famous in. Sometimes the job that we do is painful with the people that we're working with, just to hear their stories. 10 seconds. Think about that moment where it started. Think about it. 10 seconds. How did you get here? How did I get on this stage? Why am I speaking to you today? Age 5 is where it started. I'm hot, I'm tired, and I'm crabby, and I don't want to be where I'm at. I'm laying on the floor, and I'm attempting to take my shoes off. I am in the process of melting down as a 5-year-old kid. I'm laying on the floor, and I'm taking off my shoes. My mom is leaning over me, and she's crying, and this is the day my brain started to record information. My mom's hitting me on my arm, and she's saying in Spanish and in English, "Mijito, put your shoes back on. Get your shoes back on, mijito. Get your shoes back on. Put your shoes back on, mijito." My mom takes my shoes, she jams them on my feet, she ties them too tight, and I remember that. Grabs me by my little jacket, and she pulls me up. No idea what's going on. My mom grabs my hand, and we come walking down, and when I came in this room, I felt it. We came walking all the way down to the front of this room. The whole time I'm walking, I'm holding my mom's hand, I'm looking up at her, and she's crying. And she keeps saying these words. "He's a good boy. Don't do this. He's a good boy. You're wrong. He's a good boy. You're wrong. You're wrong. Don't do this. He's a good boy." No idea what my mom's talking about. Get to the front of this room. I put my little hands on this little wooden fence in the front of the room, and I'm looking up at my mom, and she's crying really hard, and I start to get scared. I turn and I look. And when I turn and I look, I see my brother. I'm the baby of the family. Between me and my sister, there's a 7-year difference. Between me and my brother is 14 years. Between me and the brother that I'm looking at is 17 years. I'm 5, I'm looking at my 22-year-old brother. Here's what my 22-year-old brother looks like. White flip-flops, orange jumpsuit, chains that go around his ankle, chain that goes around his waist, handcuffs connected to the chain. On the back of his orange jumpsuit, it says County of San Diego. My brother is standing in front of a judge, and I remember looking at him and admiring my brother. But what my brother did between ages 18 and 22 is he walked across the border from San Diego into Tijuana. He purchased heroin, found someplace on his body or in his body to walk that heroin back across the border. My brother was a drug trafficker. Age 22, he finally got busted because they connected all those times he walked across the border, and now he's standing in front of a judge. My mom is standing there, and she's crying. Audience participation. Do judges care about moms crying? No, they do not. They do not. This judge holds up a bag, Ziploc bag, says evidence across it, has 4 balls of heroin in it that my brother had on him when he walked across the border. They sentenced my 22-year-old brother to a federal penitentiary. The judge talked to the sheriff. The sheriff came, grabbed my brother, and he spun him around. Grabbed him by the arm, and he walked him over to mom with those handcuffs on. As soon as he got up to mom, he unclipped those handcuffs. He put those handcuffs around mom, and I watched my brother's mouth, and I remember to this moment of him saying, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry." My mom's hugging him saying, "I love you, I love you, I love you." Sheriff grabbed my brother, pulled him off mom, pushed him down on me. My brother drops to his knees with that little wooden fence in between us. He takes those handcuffs, he puts them around me, gives me a kiss on my cheek, and he says, "Little brother, don't do drugs. Drugs are bad, don't do drugs." Sheriff grabs my brother, picks him up, reclips his handcuff. Off my 22-year-old brother goes to federal penitentiary. My other brother, 14 years older than me, was a drinker and a fighter, always in and out of jail. My sister, who I text about 30 times a day, probably did drugs this morning. My sister texted me and she says, Ray, do a good job today. Make me proud. Tell my story. I'm like, all right, sister, I will. I love my sister. My sister ran drugs from El Paso to Chicago, New York, and down into Florida. My sister has done so much meth in her life, they can't put teeth in her mouth anymore. Now, I don't know if you'll get this joke or not, but it is weird being Mexican with my sister at Christmas time because everything she eats is either in baby food form or through a straw. So at Christmas time, I got to make her like a tamale smoothie, you know. Want some frijoles in that, sister, you know. I love that joke because people are like, do I laugh? Do I not laugh? He's making fun of his meth head sister. What do I do? You know. Don't worry, she said I could use that joke when she can remember. No, she loves that joke. My dad was a drinker and a fighter. I'd watch my dad start drinking about 6 o'clock in the evening, 10 o'clock. Car keys would get thrown, beer bottle would get thrown, fight would start. How many of you have ever seen this alcoholic? The embarrassed alcoholic, the person that drinks and get drunk and they try not to get drunk, or they try to look like they're not drunk? Who's seen these people, right? Don't point at other people, please. Just raise your hand. You don't need to go. This isn't an intervention. That was my mom. My mom was the embarrassed alcoholic. My mom had all those little secret recipes like margarita meatloaf, tequila tacos. In the morning, she's eating Corona Cheerios because they're magically delicious, you know. And so, you know, it was crazy because I remember coming home from school, my mom would be drinking all day. She'd be holding like a beer can, walking backwards in the house like, I'm okay. I'm like, Mom, you're not okay, you know. You're at the Michael Jackson moonwalking level. You're not doing good, you know. And I remember not bringing friends over to the house because of my mom. You know, my friends would eat my mom's cooking and they'd have a buzz. They'd be like, dude, can your mom drive us home? And I'd be like, no, look at her, you know. She just had a 6-pack of burritos. She's not going anywhere, you know. And it was just crazy growing up in this house. And at age 9, I'm sitting on the curb while the police are going through our house looking for drugs that my other brother had brought in. Something clicked inside my head. Why? Why? Why is my dad a good guy? He drinks and then he fights. Why is my mom a nice lady? She drinks and then she yells at us. Why does my sister stare off into space for so long? And I had to answer that question. Immediately following high school, I started working as an intern at a residential treatment center. I was the low guy on the totem pole. So I was the front desk where people would literally come in off the street and I would be the first person that they would encounter and I would talk with them. And I had an opportunity to interview people from heroin addicts, heard gas station stories, heard shooting stories, heard all of these stories. And I just wanted to know what was going on, what was taking place. And so the thing that I found out after being in the field for so long, after 30 years of experience, here's what I found out. Addiction isn't the problem. It's the answer to a problem. It's not the problem. All of us are prone to addiction. We are. It's the way that our brain is designed and it's the way that our brain is set up. And when we think of the word addiction, we think of wrecking our car, destroying our marriages. You know what you're watching right now? You're watching me operate in my addiction right now. You are. If I don't do this once or twice a month, I go through the same reactions my sister does. My wife loves watercolor painting. If she goes too long, she goes through the same exact thing. And this solves a problem for me. My sister does drugs because addiction isn't the problem. And then I thought, working as an intern, could we reverse engineer the concept of addiction? Could we back somebody up to the place in their brain where their brain goes, drugs or something else? And I started to work on this crazy little theory on how do we back that up? How do we get a person addicted to something different than drugs and alcohol? How do we get the brain to the place where it says, you know what, that's not the good thing. This is the thing I want over here. And I did it. I did it. It was crazy. I worked on this theory for a long time, and then I went to a university hospital, and I said, I have this crazy idea. Do you want to try it out? And after working with them for a long period of time and working this whole thing out, they said, we have a storage closet you can have. I'm like, oh, cool. How much staff can I have? They go, if you can find an intern, you get an intern. And we were able to run this program out in Southern California. Here's what we found out. After reframing addiction, and I'm going to teach you how to do it. After reframing addiction, and this, I don't know why this is embarrassing, the hospital program maintained a consistent 90% success rate of youth not returning to drugs and alcohol 18 months after graduating our program. It was amazing. And we did it in a whole different way. We did this, and the hospital started to study. The first 6 months, we were already at capacity. Then after 6 months, they said, you know what, we're going to give you a classroom. They gave us a classroom. The next 6 months, we were running so many kids through our 6-week program. And then they started to realize, man, we're having a lot of success with this. And they did a study on this, 90%. And it was crazy to me. And we were doing stuff people really hadn't thought about. Then probation called us. And they said, we're happy with 15%. How are you getting 90%? And we went out and we revamped the Southern California probation program, and they started to see success. And then parents said, you know what? If you're able to do that with probation officers, can you do it with us? Parents witnessed real change in their kids, and they saw a difference when they implemented this program. And then businesses saw increase in client trust and long-term. This is what I want you to have. When you walk out of this door today, I want you to have some concrete tools that you can actually put into work, something that you can walk out and go, Monday, I'm starting this. This is what I'm going to start doing. And I want you to take all of this great information that you learned. So let's learn this, okay? Let's figure out how this is. Here's what I want you to know about your client. Number one, they're here for 2 reasons. You have a client that comes to you for 2 reasons. Number one, they either have to be with you or they want to be with you. They almost look identical, but the ones that want to be with you, after the program's over, they will give you a great review, they'll talk about you, and you're always inside their head. And the second thing, and you need to remember this, and this is why I wanted you to remember why you're sitting in this chair. After 2.5 years in your role, you forget. You do. You forget what it feels like to be your client. Whether they're a patient, student, or your teenager, you have forgotten what it's like. How many of you have kids out there? Right. Okay. How many of you work with youth? Right. How many of you are in the counseling or teaching sector? Right. Almost everybody. Here's the thing is you have to remember what it's like to be your client. Let me tell you about your client. Here's what I want you to do. Wherever you're sitting right now, I want you to kind of side-eye people, right? Just kind of look at them like, yeah. As soon as you side-eye somebody, I want you to think to yourself, your brain's lazy, okay? This is your opportunity. If you're sitting next to your boss right now, just turn and look and go, your brain's lazy, okay? Trust me, you will not get into trouble, okay? Your brain is unbelievably lazy. Unbelievably lazy, okay? Once it finds a solution to something, it does not look for another solution. It doesn't, right? Let me show you how lazy your brain is. In a second, I'm going to give you a little piece of information, and I love this because you're going to go like this. Is that true? Oh my gosh, it's true, right? Because it's something that has been happening to you for a long time, and you don't even realize this, and this is how lazy your brain is. Everybody in this room, every single person in this room, you have a maximum of 12 different meals that you eat over and over and over and over again, right? How many people fall in that category, right? For a majority of you, it's 8, right? How many of you make your coffee the same exact way every day? How many of you drive to work the same exact way every day, right? Your brain is lazy. How many of you have ever done this? You're going to your favorite restaurant with your significant other, with somebody, and you say these words, I'm going to eat something different tonight, right? And then you get to the restaurant, what do? You eat the same exact thing, right? And so the thing is, your brain is unbelievably lazy. Once it finds a solution, it will not look for another solution. That's your client. If your client has found that drugs and alcohol solve the problem, the brain will not look for another answer. So you have to know whatever information you're going to provide them, you're going to have to work through this lazy brain. Now here's another crazy thing. You know when most people have a relapse is in the evening? Do you know why? Because we have a thing that's called decision fatigue. And so what happens is all day long you're making a decision. All day long you're at work, you're making a decision. You walk through the door, somebody looks at you and says, "What do you want for dinner?" And what do you say? "I don't care," right? Because your brain has literally said, "I'm done making a decision." Think about your client that is in recovery. All day long, they are fighting the feeling of not using. Finally, at the end of the day, when their brain's like, "Oh gosh, I don't care. Let's just start using again." You have to remember that. Is it a bad thing? No, this is just the way that the brain works, is the brain is lazy. The second thing is the brain hates pain. It hates the idea of past pain. It hates the idea of current pain, and it hates the idea of future pain, right? You got hurt on a skateboard. Do you ride that skateboard ever again? No, you don't, right? "Oh man, I know when I stand up, my back's going to hurt, so I'm going to stand up a different way," right? "Oh man, there's something coming down the road." So our brain hates pain. There's 800 people in this room. At the end of my presentation, a whole bunch of you come up and you're crying and you're like, "Ray, this is the best presentation ever. We loved it." There's a couple of big guys trying to lift me up over their shoulders and carry me around the room, okay? There's a few musical people over here in the corner trying to write a little ditty about me, okay? And so they're over here, except for, man, you sat in the front row, sir. Sorry, yeah. Except for this guy right here, okay? This guy comes up to me, pats me on the shoulder, and he says, "It wasn't that good. You'll get them next time." Maybe it's because of the time change, but don't worry, Tiger, you'll get them next time, right? Let me ask you this. When I'm driving back to the airport, am I thinking about the 699 or am I thinking about the one? How long am I thinking about the one? And when I come back next time, what am I thinking about? The one. Our body is not designed for pain. It's designed for pleasure. So the thing is, the brain does not know what to do with pain. You get into a painful event, a little tiny painful event, right? Somebody said something and your brain starts going, right? And this little tiny event is now waking you up at 2:30 in the morning. Am I right? Yes. Remember that about your client. Your client hates pain. And the last one, when the brain feels good, it assumes that it's on the right path. Do drugs and alcohol make people feel good? Yes, they do. So what does the brain say? We're on the right path. I am in a situation that is going to be unfamiliar to probably everybody in this room, but I want to tell you about my painful event. I'm in the process of losing weight. Okay? Now, I know this is going to be foreign to many of you. You don't understand the concept. But a couple of weeks ago, our neighbor had this barbecue. I went over and I started off with a few chicken wings. Who knows what I'm talking about? Then you move on to pizza, right? Next thing you know, you got a hot dog on your plate, right? Next thing you know, you got a thing of lasagna. And I don't know what happened, but she runs a cooking channel on YouTube, and I thought I better just out of respect to her, I got to try everything out several times over, right? I walk home and I am feeling in pain. I lay on the bed and I'm breathing real shallow. I grab my CPAP and I'm like, keep me alive! Crank that thing all the way up, right? And I'm laying there and I'm in pain. And what does my brain say? We are not doing this again. We're done eating like that. We're never going to eat like that again. And I say, all right, I agree. Monday morning, I wake up and I decide to go for a little walk. Tuesday, they bring donuts into the office, but I don't eat them. Wednesday, instead of French fries, I have the apple slices. I drink water instead of soda. Friday, I stand on the scale and I'm down a pound. And what does my brain say? Yes, this is awesome. Let's do some more. Monday, I get some brand new tennis shoes. I start waking up early in the morning and I'm walking at 5 o'clock with everybody else, trying to get my dog to come out because he doesn't want to walk that early, right? He's like, come on, right? And then Wednesday, man, I'm walking some more. They bring in donuts. I don't eat them. I'm having carrot sticks. I'm eating salads. Week number 2, I step on the scale and I'm excited because I lost another pound. And what does my brain say? Yes, this is exciting. We've cracked the code. What's everybody talking about? Losing weight's easy, right? Third week, I start going to the gym. I'm working out. I'm exercising. I'm sweating. I'm drinking water. I'm doing. That week, I step on the scale, and now I'm up 4 pounds. And what does my brain say? Forget it. Maybe that chicken wing idea wasn't all that bad, right? So the thing is, as long as your client, their brain is feeling good about what they're doing, they're going in the right direction. And they feel like they're going in the right direction. And we need to remember that. So when you're working with your client, remember that they are going, their brain is lazy, they're going in the right, or they feel like they're going in the right direction. Now, here's what I want you to do. I'm going to put you in a scenario. And what is amazing about the brain is the brain cannot tell the difference between fantasy and reality. So the more you put into this, the more you're going to get out of this, okay? Here's your situation. This is you, okay? You are in a crazy busy Tokyo subway. You thought you would have an hour to catch your train, but when you caught the Uber, traffic hit, and instead of having an hour, you're now down to 15 minutes to catch your train. You're in this crazy busy subway. Nobody looks like you. You can't hear any voices that sound like you. All of the aroma is different from all the different restaurants that are going on. Everybody's rushing by you. You're looking at your watch. You now have 12 minutes to catch the train that's going to get you to your flight to get you home. You pull out your phone. You look at your phone because you want it to give you directions to know where to go. And you realize that your phone cannot connect to the internet. So now you're holding a tiny little brick with a piece of glass on it. Shout out what emotions you're feeling right now. Let me know. Anxiety. What else? Fear. What else? Keep going. Anger. What else? Stress. Listen to these emotions. Anger, stress. How many of you in this situation are feeling alone? How many of you are feeling scared? How many of you are feeling nervous? How many of you are feeling anxious? Listen to those emotions. You're standing there, your heart's beating, your mouth is dry, you're going crazy, you don't know what to do, you start feeling hot, you feel dizzy, you feel this thing inside you come up, and you look out over the crowd and you start hollering, does anybody speak English? Does anybody speak English? Who speaks English? You see somebody in the distance turn, they smile at you, they come over, and with a broken accent, they say, I speak English. How can I help you? How do you feel now? Relieved. What else? Happy. Do you feel saved? Hopeful. Yes. What else? Encouraged. Let me ask you this. That person that walked up to you and said, I speak English, have they done anything for you? No. What have they done? They've identified that they speak your language. In this room, teachers, clinicians, parents, you have to identify with whoever you're sitting across from, and all you have to say is, I speak your language. That's it. If this person says, I know how to get you where you're going, are you going to listen to them? Yes. If they say, put your hand on my shoulder so you don't get lost in this crowd, are you going to put your hand on their shoulder? Yes. Are you going to follow them willingly wherever they're going to take you? Yes. When you get to that train station, if it's cool, are you going to give them a hug? Yes. When you pull out of that train, are you going to think about that person? Yes. When you get to wherever you needed to go to get home and they ask you, what happened on your tour? Are you going to tell that story? Yes. 10 years down the road when somebody says, hey, didn't you go to Japan one time? What happened? Are you going to tell that story? Yes. Understand this. You need to learn to speak your client's language. That's it. Now, in the program that we were running, we learned how to speak kid. We did. Because your client speaks a different language than you do. Are you ready to learn that language? Because this is the thing, you know it. You have just forgotten how to speak that language. Let me teach you this language. How many of you have been around a 5-year-old before? Nice. How many have been around one of those cute 5-year-olds, the kind that you take selfies with and you color and you bake cookies? Who's been around that one? Hey. Who's been around that one 5-year-old you're kind of sure might be the son and daughter of Satan himself? Yeah. They walk in the room and the cat and dog just kind of like, oh, I gotta go. Oh my gosh, look at what time it is, right? Got a bunch of broken toys, right? You lay them down in the bed and you look on the back of their head and there's a number, 665 and a half, right? And you're like, little Damien's close, right? All right, let's see how well you know a 5-year-old. 5-year-old is sitting on a sofa watching a movie on their electronic device. Somebody rips that electronic device from them. What do? Scream or cry. Good. 5-year-old has their favorite little blanket. Somebody rips that blanket away from them. What do? Scream or cry. 5-year-old wants a cookie before dinner. They can't have that cookie. What do? Scream or cry. That's going to be the answer the whole time. So get ready to shout it out, right? Time for a 5-year-old to go to bed. 5-year-old does not want to go to bed. What do? Scream and cry. 5-year-old wants to go outside. They can't go outside. What do? Scream and cry. 5-year-old wets their pants. What do? Scream or cry, right? Except for the evil one, right? You know what they change in time, right? Little head starts spinning around. All right. This is what a 5-year-old's little brain looks like. Small letter I over a large letter E. I stands for intelligence. E stands for emo. High school kids always holler out evil, but it's intelligence. 5-year-olds speak very little intelligence. They speak a whole bunch of emotion. This is just the chemical makeup of their brain. This is the way that their brain works, and I wish I had time, and we do a much longer class on this where we talk all about this, but they speak emotion before they speak intelligence. At age 21, the brain starts to change. Between the ages of 21 and 25, the brain has figured out how it's going to work. Between the ages of 21 and 25, the brain is reinforcing everything that it has learned. What your brain does now is it just reinforces the stuff that it has learned. This is why it's so difficult at this age to change your mind about stuff, because your brain is lazy. It's figured it out, and it doesn't want to do that. But everybody in this room over the age of 21, this is how you think. Big, huge letter I over a small letter E. You think emotion or intelligence before you think emotion. Watch, check this out. Adult, you sitting on a sofa, watching something on your electronic device, somebody comes and pulls it away from you, what do? You get it back, right? Scream, yeah, right? There's always one, right? Yeah. Somebody takes your blanket away from you, what do? You get it back. I had a lady one time stand up and go, you get a better lawyer. Not only do you get that blanket back, you get the boat, the car, and half of his income. And I'm like, that's intelligence right there, ma'am. Thank you for proving my point. Somebody tells you you can't go outside, you want to go outside, what do? Go outside. Time to go to bed, you're not ready to go to bed, what do? Stay up. You want a cookie before dinner, you want that cookie before dinner, what do? Eat the cookie, right? Yeah. You wet your pants, what do? You cry. There's some emotion there, right? You're like, dang it, that age came too fast. That's why they make those products, right? So the thing is, adults in this room, you speak a whole different language than somebody who has been in addiction for a long time. Somebody who has lived in addiction for a long period of time, whatever age they started using, age 16, the brain got stuck right there and it hasn't moved on because it functions on an emotional situation. Now, this is what I want you to do. I want you to look at emotion and intelligence as two different languages. Both of these languages are equal in strength. One is not more important than the other. It'd be like if I were standing up here and I was speaking in Mandarin Chinese and I was giving you the secret to eternal life. It doesn't matter how I would talk, but it carries the same type of strength. You would not get that information. Does that make sense to everybody? Now, here's what I want you to understand, because this is important. This was key to our program right here. This is going to be key to you, how you get this information across. Emotion and intelligence. When emotion talks to intelligence, intelligence hates emotion. It hates emotion. The more emotion talks to intelligence, Intelligence looks at emotion and goes, how do you think like that? Science shows that it's different. It's been proven that this happens this way. And the more emotion talks to intelligence, the more it hates it. Now, here's the same exact thing. When intelligence talks to emotion, emotion hates listening to intelligence. It does. I just want you to raise your hand just a little bit like this if you fall in this category. Any parents in this room have teenagers and you feel like there's this valley growing between you? Right? Not so high, sir. Just a little, yeah. Thanks for being honest. Pay attention to this next part because this is going to help close that valley. This is why it happens right here. Because you're speaking two different languages. When your client comes into the room, when your client is sitting across from you, think of that Tokyo train station. They're scared. They're nervous. They don't know what's going on. They don't know what's happening. They're afraid. Parents, your kids, scared, nervous, afraid. But these are all brand new emotions, so they do not know how to identify these emotions. People who have gone through addiction, who have lived in addiction for a long time, do not know how to identify a lot of emotions. And this is the language that we speak. And these two languages literally hate each other. And I saw this with my kids. Now let me show you how to speak this language. This is it. You wake up Saturday morning to this situation. This guy you're looking at right here is your neighbor. And you are best friends with your neighbor. You were in his wedding, he was in your wedding. You have the code to his house across the street, he has the code to your house. When you go on vacation, he watches your dog and gets your mail. When they go on vacation, you do the same exact thing. When he has a pool party, you're there. When you have a barbecue, he's there, right? This is a good neighbor. Saturday morning, you're sitting on the sofa, you open the door to your best friend, Nick, and Nick is crying, and he cannot even get the words out of his mouth. He looks at you and he goes, oh man, my yellow lab buddy just died. You look at your friend Nick and you go, oh, Nick, that's terrible. Hold on, Nick. I got something for you. You run into the other room, all excited. You come running out. Nick is standing in your doorway and you said, Nick, we're good friends. And I saw this coming. So you know what I did, Nick? Take your laptop, you open it up, you hit play, and you say, Nick, I made you a PowerPoint presentation. It opens up with pictures of Nick and his yellow lab. Then it goes into really great music. Then you got a personalized 2-minute video from the Dalai Lama. And the Dalai Lama says, Nick, animals are our life creatures. We must take care of them. And your dog was a good dog, right? Then get this. This is so exciting. You got a pie chart, right? And this pie chart shows that most yellow labs get hip cancer, but your dog Buddy didn't. Get ready? Look at this cool graph I made you, Nick, right? And it shows that most yellow labs are obsessed with food. And so sometimes they eat too fast. And they get this twisted gut thing. But Buddy never did, and other dogs did. And you know what, Nick? It's so cool because I just read that most yellow labs get hip cancer, but Buddy never did. Isn't that awesome, Nick? I'll give you a copy of this PowerPoint presentation, right? Audience participation. As you're showing Nick that PowerPoint presentation, does Nick feel closer to you or further away from you? Further away from you. Parents, this is what we do to our kids. Clinicians, we have a tendency to do this to our clients, right? Because what is Nick coming to me with? What language? Emotion. What am I answering Nick in? Intelligence. When I learned this, it was crazy. This was probably about 15 years ago when this came to me, because we were sitting at dinner with our son and we had a really open family where we talked about everything. And me, Dad, I was giving my son, some instructions. During the middle of these instructions, my son looked at me and he shook his head and he goes, "Dad, you're just like a parrot." I said, "A parrot or a parent? Like a bird or like an adult that had a kid?" Right? My son said, "Like the bird." I'm like, "What do you mean, son? How am I a parrot?" He goes, "Dad, every single night, clean your room, do the dishes, make the bed, do your homework." And I realized that I have lost conversation with my son. All I was doing was giving him instructions. Parents, that is what you are doing a lot of times with your kids. And what's happening is it's changing. It's changing the relationship and the valley grows. I have worked with so many parent groups and I look at parents at this point and I go, when is the last time you looked at your kid and just said, "I love you. Thanks for being my kid." That's it. Not, "I love you. Thanks for being my kid. Make sure you clean your room." Right? No, just that one little emotional thing. So what Nick was coming to me at was an emotional language. What I was answering him in was an intelligent language. Can you see how the two languages hate each other? How they get upset with each other? Think about that. Are you doing that with your client? Are you doing that with your kid? Are you doing that with your students? Now, let me ask you this. Let me find out who remembers this language. Audience participation, get ready to shout out an answer. You open the door. There's your buddy, Nick. You look at Nick. Nick looks at you and he says, my yellow lab buddy just died." Somebody shouted out, "What does Nick need?" Right there. Oh, you remember. A hug. All Nick needs you to do is walk up to him and throw your arms around him. That's it. Nothing else. How long do you stand there with Nick? For as long as it takes. You stand there and you cry and you hug Nick and you hold on to him and you do not say one word. Shoulders all wet. Nick has cried for 7 or 8 minutes. Then you bring him in and you sit him down and you say, "Nick, here's a little piece of cake, man. Here's a cup of coffee. Tell me your story, Nick. Tell me what happened." And Nick starts telling you about the dog. Somewhere along the conversation, you look at Nick and you go, "Man, you know what, Nick? This is crazy. I was thinking about Buddy right now. Most labs get this thing, hip cancer, but you know what? Buddy never did he? And you know what? Most labs have a tendency to eat too fast, but Buddy never got that twisted gut thing, did he? And you know what, Nick? Most yellow labs, they just, are attached to you emotionally. And Buddy was good like that, right? Audience, am I giving Nick the same exact information as that PowerPoint presentation? Yes, but what am I doing? I'm connecting it emotionally first. Teachers, clinician, people in the area of harm reduction, parents, you have to figure out, how do I use my words to throw my arms around the person sitting in front of me before I ever try to get any information across to them? How do I do that? What we did with our kids that came through our program is we figured out how to emotionally connect to these kids before they even started the program. A day before our program started, we sat down as a staff, we looked at all the photos that the kids sent in, we memorized their names, their hobbies, the things that they liked, the things that they didn't like, and when they were, the information that they gave us. So you know what we were able to do? When a kid got out of the car and started walking to our program, one of my staff members would be able to walk up to him and go, "Terry?" And the kid would be like, "Yeah." And we go, huh, man, dude, glad you're here. Get in there, right? And we did that over and over and over again. Or I'd have a staff member just out of the blue, not holding a piece of paper, look at him and go, dude, you like baking cookies? I like baking cookies. I read that. And we made this emotional connection. We never once, and this is what freaked the hospital out, we never had a time where we sat down and we told the kids that drugs and alcohol were bad. We never did. If you sat down with a kid that's smoking weed all the time and you asked them, do you think smoking weed's bad? Smoking that much weed's bad? What do you think they're going to tell you? Yeah, I know that, right? They know that. You don't need to reinforce that. You don't need to tell them that. But what you need to do is you need to get their brain, who's lazy, who's found the answer, who has taken care of the pain, you need for them to figure out how to change that. And you're going to change it through emotion. And how are you going to do that? You're going to ask the questions. Emotion opens the door to information. But here's your takeaway. Whoever asks the question drives the conversation. Remember that. That's how we taught our classes for 6 weeks, is we asked a lot of questions and then we just threw out a little piece of information. What's your home life like? Oh, terrible? Wow. Your mom's always on you? Do you think it's because you smoke weed? No. Okay, not smoking weed. You're probably right. Right, is your mom really mean? Oh yeah, okay, you got your mom. What are your grades like? Oh, they're bad? Okay, grades are bad. Right? Do you think it's because you smoke weed? No? Okay, cool. Why do you think your grades are bad? Oh, the teacher. Oh yeah, okay. I got that. Cool. Are you always running late? Yeah. You think it's because you smoke weed? No, it's just time. Okay, good. Right. And we would go through this entire thing for like 3 weeks. And they would tell us over and over and over and over again, it's nothing to do with weed. After about 3 weeks, I said this line so many times. I'd look at them and go, man, I got to tell you something. And just want to be real honest with you. You're a terrible weed smoker. You don't know how to do it. You don't. And I have kids in this class that make straight A's and they can smoke weed. Not really, right? No, I had a few. I said, but you don't know how to do this. I said, can we just try this little experiment? Can we maybe not smoke weed for like a month and just see what happens? And all of a sudden the kids were like, wow, I didn't realize that weed was connected to all that stuff. So all we did is we drove our program by asking a whole bunch of different questions. Next one, hero's journey. Parents want to be their kids' heroes. Clinicians want to be heroes for their clients. Teachers want to be heroes for their students. And I love that. But you can't be. You can't be. Because they are on their own journey. And what you need to do is you need to be their support and guide. Everybody in this room right now, think of your favorite movie. The movie that if you went home tonight and it was on, you would watch it. You know the lines to every single part of this movie, and you'll watch it over and over again. Think about your favorite movie. Let me throw out some of the popular movies I always get. Shawshank Redemption. Who likes that movie, right? Think about this. Shawshank Redemption. Andy Dufresne never would have made it through prison without Red. Anybody like Lord of the Rings? Okay, a couple of you, right? Frodo never would have made it to Mordor and thrown that ring, or never would have made it to Mount Doom and thrown that ring into the river. I'm a nerd. Okay. All right. Frodo never would have made it without who? Sam, right? Anybody like the Barbie movie? Okay, a couple of you. Your assignment is to watch the Barbie movie. Okay? Because the Barbie movie is your client. It is. And it's on the hero journey. Let me tell you how the Barbie movie goes. Barbie wakes up in the morning and it is a utopia. She lives in a utopia. Everything is fine. Everything is wonderful. Everything is terrific. Toast pops out of the toaster. Orange juice is perfect. Shower's perfect. She slides down into her car. She goes to the beach. Everything is perfect. She loves her life. Your client loves their life. I don't care what situation they're in. They love their life. Barbie has a dance party. Barbie's dancing with all her friends. At one point she goes, does anybody think about dying? Party stops. She looks around, she goes, because I'm dying to dance, right? What's happened inside Barbie's head is there's been a thought that's been placed in there, and it's going to change the rest of her life. Here's where your client is stuck. Here's where 99% of people get stuck. Watch the movie. Barbie then starts to reinforce how her life is perfect. My life is wonderful. My life is great. I don't need to change. Everything is all right. I don't need to change. That's where your client is now sitting in front of you. Somewhere along the line, your client thought, maybe I shouldn't drink. Maybe I shouldn't do this. But you know what? My life's pretty good. I don't mind. It's all right. I'm sure I have some problems like that, right? And so what does Barbie do? Barbie meets with this one other Barbie called Weird Barbie that puts her on the path to find this new life. That's what you have to do, is you have to be your client's hero. Don't hand it to them, but help them through their journey. Be their Sam to their Frodo. Be their Red to Andy Dufresne. And you watch, and they will come back to you. We did this with our kids. Not at any point during the 7 years that I worked there did we ever tell kids not to do drugs and alcohol, but we became their support and we became their guide, and we helped them put it through, or help them make this change in their life. Let me close this up. This is key. And they talked about it this morning on the panel. And I want you to understand this, but I need you to put yourself in this place. The game of tag. How many of you remember playing tag? Is it playing tag? I'm sorry. Not the app on your phone, okay? This is the actual go outside, get sweaty, have to come in and take a shower because you smell like sunshine. That kind of tag, right? Okay, good, right? All right, so you remember playing the game of tag. Now I'm going to tell you why I took my life in my own hands in 1972 when we played tag. But our house was the house to play tag at. We had a tree in the middle of our yard, right? And there was 5 of us that would play. There was the fast-running kid, Chad, and then there was the kid that ran in slow motion, Ray, okay? It doesn't matter how I would get my little legs going, I was literally running in slow motion, okay? Get ready, because I'm going to need some audience participation in this. You stood around as a group of kids getting ready to play tag. Does anybody remember the thing that you would say immediately? You're it or not it, right? Not it. Chad did not care. Chad was the fast-running kid. Chad then, remember this, put yourself in this place. Chad would run up to the tree. He'd put his hands on the tree. He'd cover his eyes. When Chad would cover his eyes, what did all the other kids do? Run and do what? Hide. Chad would count from 1 to 10. As soon as he got to the number 10, what would he shout? Ready or not, here I come. Boom. And Chad would start looking. Now, little Ray, I would hide behind this bush, okay? And my hope was that Chad would walk away from me, right? That I would be looking at Chad's back. So Chad starts walking around looking for kids, right? He'd come up on a kid. They would jump out of the bush. Chad would take off running. He was fast, man. Boom, he'd tag that kid, right? And I'm over here and I'm hiding in this bush waiting, little 7-year-old Ray, and I'm watching, and I'm watching. And then when Chad was far enough away, what would I do? I would jump out of this bush. I would take off running as fast as my little legs would carry me, right? Now, here is why it was dangerous for me to play tag in 1972 as a little overweight boy. Does anybody remember what the fashion in 1972 was? Yes, somebody said it. How many of you remember corduroy, right? Corduroy. My little legs are rubbing together going, that corduroy's rubbing together like 2 sticks, right? All of a sudden, my pants catch on fire. I'm running, attempting to put my pants out. I got a trail of smoke behind me. Here comes Chad. I'm running as fast as I can. I'm going. I reach out my hand. Before Chad can tag me, I put my hand on the tree, and what do I say? Safe, I made it. I made it. When I put my hand on that tree and I say safe, I made it. There is a chemical reaction that took place inside my head that said, I'm going to be okay here. I'm all right here. This is where I belong. Nothing can get me here. Parents, if you do not make your house a place where your kid can come home and put their hand on the door and say, safe, I'm okay here, they're going to go out and find it. Clinicians, don't clap yet. Clinicians, if you cannot make your office a place where your client can come in and go, safe, I'm okay, nothing can get me here, this is where I belong, they're going to go out and find it. Teachers, if you do not make your classroom a place where a kid can walk in and say, safe, I'm all right here, forget about learning. Here's where you clap, right? So, I want you to walk out of this door and think about that. Parents ask me, well, does that mean we can let kids do whatever they want? Nope. It's completely the opposite. When they brought me to the hotel last night, this driver went over this bridge on the river right here. How many of you are familiar with that bridge across the river? Right? When we went over that bridge, I thought about this. A lot of you who crossed that bridge, do you feel safe when you cross that bridge? Yeah, pretty much, right? Now, let me ask you this. If I took the guardrails off, so now there's just a drop straight into the river, do you feel safe? How many of you have ever hit those guardrails before? Nobody. Those guardrails are there to let me know that I'm safe. Parents, set rules up in your house that are clear. Clinicians, teachers, parents, everybody, set rules up in the house, but make them clear to know that they're there for your child's safety, for your clinician's safety, or your client's safety. You have to develop those rules and make it a place that they can come and put their hand in your office and say, I'm safe. Audience, first off, remember why you're sitting here today. Get that passion back, because we're in this room to save lives. Know who your client is. Talk emotion before you ever attempt to get intelligence across. And make your place a place that they can come and say, safe, I'm going to be okay here. Diane, audience, my name's Ray Lozano. Thank you so much for this opportunity to talk to you.